Hi everyone. I'm sure at some point in your life you've had apple crisp. It's an American tradition and it's so popular during the fall when apples are harvested and plentiful. A little scoop of ice cream on top and that is hard to beat. But today we're taking that recipe and we're adding the trifecta of blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries for a decadent dessert that I think is going to be one of your new favorites. I'm Jan Diatri and I love cooking in my RV. Let's get cooking in your RV. I'm starting by zesting the rind of one fresh lemon. Of course, you want to wash and dry the lemon to get it clean. I'm going to put it right in this little bowl and we're going to use it in just a bit. Now I'm going to take this naked lemon and I'm going to give it a squeeze. Now I'm peeling and slicing 2 Granny Smith apples, and I'm going to slice them nice and thin like I would do for an apple pie. Or, you could use Pink Lady or Honeycrisp or Fuji or any other organic apple in season. Now I'm putting the slices in a bowl, and after each apple, I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice, and what that does is it prevents the apples from turning brown, and also it gives it that beautiful tang. Now I'm going to give the apple slices a good stir just to make sure they're all coated, and then we want to pour off that excess lemon juice. Now I'm going to add 2 of the berries, 6 ounces each of beautiful blueberries and 6 ounces of blackberries. Now I'm going to add in that lemon zest that I grated earlier. Now the next step is I'm adding 3 level tablespoons of organic brown sugar, and I'm using this strainer because a lot of times with brown sugar you're going to get those hard lumps, and this is a great way to just make sure that your brown sugar is nice and smooth. I'm going to add 2.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, and that's going to help thicken the mixture. Then I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Yum. And this is 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And then we just want 1/8 teaspoon of cloves. I'm going to mix all this together till it's nice and combined. And now I'm going to add that yummy combination to the berries and the apple. We'll give it a nice gentle stir just to make sure that they're all coated. I'm going to add this beautiful mixture into an 8-inch metal baking dish, like that. Just give it a nice even stir and that is good to go. So I'm adding the 3rd berry, and this is 6 ounces of organic raspberries. I didn't add them in earlier because they're so delicate that they would just fall apart. All right, now it's time to preheat the microwave oven, and as you can see, I'm using a metal pan, and that's because in my RV, I've got a convection microwave, but I have to have it on the convection bake mode in order to use metal. Also, I've got the rack right here in the middle. Because it's convection, the airflow needs to flow all the way around it to cook it evenly. All right, so convection bake mode, 325, start. So while the convection microwave oven is preheating, let's make the oat streusel topping. And that starts with 2/3 cup of packed organic brown sugar. I'm adding 3/4 cup of flour. I'm using organic all-purpose flour, but you know what? If you're gluten intolerant, you can use gluten-free for this recipe. It works just as well. Now I'm adding 1 cup of rolled oats. I've got 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of my beautiful Himalayan salt. So because I love crunch, I'm adding 1/2 cup of almonds. Now these are optional if you have a nut allergy, but boy, are they a superfood. They are so good in healthy fats, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, and crunch. We'll add those almonds into the streusel, and I'm going to give it a good stir to combine all those goodies. The last ingredient, butter. So I've got 8 tablespoons or 1 stick that I've melted earlier in the microwave, and let's just stir all this beautiful streusel topping together and get it ready for the berries and the apples. I'm just sprinkling it on the fruit. Sometimes your crisp may sink in the middle, so just add a little bit more streusel topping right in the center, and it'll turn out perfect. Look at that, gorgeous, right? Get that ice cream ready. All right, I've got my convection microwave preheated to 325. I'm gonna put this on the middle rack and we're gonna bake it for 50 to 60 minutes, depending on your wattage of your microwave oven. Okay, it's been about 50 minutes and I want to check for doneness. So what I'm looking for is I want it to be nice and golden brown but not burn. And a great way to tell if it's done, just grab a fork, poke it in there, and if it goes right through the apples, you're good to go. Now you want to let this cool down for about 15 minutes and it is going to be delicious, plain or with that scoop of ice cream. So let's talk about the nutrition facts of this triple berry apple crisp. An 8 by 8 inch pan has about 6 to 9 servings. If you divide it into 9 servings, 1 serving without ice cream has about 354 calories, 15 grams of total fat, 52 grams of total carbs, and 5 grams of protein, and it contains about 137 milligrams of sodium. Well, here's an RV lifestyle tip. Consider purchasing and eating only organic apples. Unfortunately, conventional apples tend to land on the annual dirty dozen list of produce with a lot of pesticide residue. You know, your local farmers markets and apple orchards, well, they're a great place to support local farmers and also try some rare varieties that you may not find in the store. Well, I hope you find this recipe as yummy and gratifying as I did, and we'd love to hear about your version of an apple crisp in the comments below. Also, if you've got a great RV recipe or lifestyle tip, we would love to hear about it. As always, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with friends and family, and subscribe for more great RV recipes just like this.